Yay! Hello, everyone, and happy Yule. Hopefully, you all feel a little bit seasonal tonight. I know I am feeling better tonight. Hi. So, I'm so glad that you all have come. I'm really excited about tonight. I know we had kind of a meltdown earlier, but I think, it just needed to be done for my sanity. And now we can go on and have a great rest of Yule. Yay! I'm early. I'm not early. My thing says 5:32. I hear you, Simon. That's okay. I'm going to go back and watch yours. Yay. Okay. So my part just was kind of to introduce Yulefest to you. Welcome everyone to it. I have a little musing that I want to read. It's 4:30 here on Central. Well, I'm not early to you either, because it should be Eastern Standard Time, Miss Jackie. All right. I know I'm not getting a whole lot of sleep either tonight, but I went and took a nap in front of my Buffy, which I love. So yay, I'm so glad. My son, my oldest and my youngest son should be home actually pretty soon. So I'm excited about having a nice Yule and having everybody talk about Buffy already. Yes, I know. I watch Buffy at least once a year, and that's what I got from my father for my Yule present was the complete and total Buffy universe. He got me because it finally went on sale on Vudu. And when it went off of Netflix, I had a fit because I watch it at least once a year and it was hard to find. So he got me the complete whole Buffy universe. And so I, of course, watched Once More with Feeling, which is like my favorite episode of television that has ever been made. So it was really nice. And then I took a nap. And now we're here. She's my favorite too. I love Buffy. All right. So, yay. Anyways, all right. So here we go. The longest night has begun. If you are in a place where it's darkness outside, you can kind of see that. Here we are. The longest night is here. My candles on my altar, the ones that are for the whole night, are lit. But I thought we would light one up here. It's been kind of dark around here too. Absolutely. So I'm going to take a drink and I want to just read from Doctor Who specials. There you go. Perfect. That's good too for all us geek nerd people. I love it. Take a few breaths for me. And let's kind of really dig into the longest night of the year. How beautiful it is. I'll be watching everyone's things. I will be going outside and greeting as much of the longest night as I can. Hi, Axon. And so I hope everyone enjoys the longest night. The spiritual oomph that is this night is so beautiful to me. And it is really one of my favorite things, is kind of staying up the whole night, making sure the candles don't dim, making sure my altar candles keep going all night. And so I'm happy to join that tradition now and kind of make a new tradition of watching, all our favorite YouTubers. And I will see you all at 5 o'clock in the morning to start my stuff. So here we go. It was the long, dark night, and the stars were hidden behind thick, dark clouds. Of course it's going to start already. Let me start that over. Oh, I love internet. All right. Let's start that again. Internet issues already? I know, right? We just started. All right, here we go. It was the long, dark night, and the stars were hidden behind thick, dark clouds. Cry freedom, he said, but they came in the night, and when morning came, he was gone, taken to the camps, where the searchlights prowled the night land, and the shadows were sharp and jagged like the wire. He was a grandfather, much beloved, proud of his roots in his native land, but he was taken away, removed from his family, and never seen again. A branch is severed from the tree, and the bare trunk is raw, sap weeping from the wound. A curse lays heavy on the land, like an evil enchantment, and from deep in his cold citadel, the tyrant rules the land with an iron fist. He mocks the gods. This is the darkest point of the night, a time of loss, a time to mourn those who have joined the shades, and those lost who have spoken truth against power and paid the price. We light a candle for freedom, for the ending of the longest night, and pray that dawn may come. The wound is deep and will not heal. We mourn the past, the bells do peal, even when we know we never find. Still cords of love shall ever bind. The darkest night, the turning point, a healing touch time out of joint, and bind together, holding hands. Hope is lines drawn in the sands. Loss is beating like a broken heart. We may grasp only some small part of the whole, but in the darkest night, there is still a space for candlelight. The dawn will come, and the embers of the fire will be softly glowing. Then we shall take a log from the fire. And as the sun has come to the turning point of the year, so shall we take turns and leap over the fire. This is the Yule log, a sign for hope, for the renewal of the sun at the turning point of the year. And as we leap over the smoldering wood, we too cross the threshold from darkness into light and are reborn. Pass through fire, be not burned. Such is promise now discerned. So welcome to the longest night. I will post my my Yule song list again in our Facebook page. I do encourage you to listen to it as you watch everyone's Yulefest videos. There are some very meaningful songs on there to me. About what Yule means and what the longest night means. And it really couldn't be more important to me to share that with all of you. The magic that is the longest night, and knowing that our ancestors really didn't know if the sun would rise again in the morning. They really thought that their lighting their candles would. I just have to laugh and say I love my internet. That our ancestors really thought that their lighting their candles would encourage the sun to rise again in the morning. And they didn't know if they didn't stay up all night and laugh and drum and light candles, that they didn't know if the sun would rise again. So I will have my drum out tonight. I will be watching all of you. I will be drumming for the sun to return. I will be listening to music, and I will await my time to celebrate the sun with you all. And then we will just do a very simple joint ritual to help the sun to rise for us, for all of us in the morning. Yay! I'm really excited because this is just going to be a fabulous night. You just turned your candle on. Yay! And that's where that tradition of putting one candle in every window, that came from the people who were awaiting the sun's rise in the morning. That came from them putting a candle in every window to make sure that the sun knew how to come back, which I just think is the coolest thing. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so get your drinks together. Everybody relax a couple minutes. I didn't want to take a whole lot of time before our first presenter for our Yule, which is Maddie, who's going to be coming on to Conjurer's Table. And keep in mind, guys, that if anything should go wrong in the night and someone's, stuff doesn't come up or something happens or whatever, you can always message me. Keep an eye on my channel. Maddie starts right at 6. And I am going to post, this is his page there. That's how you can get to him. And he will be on right at 6, which is another 15 minutes. In the meantime, I figured I would finish up my time in our introduction by reading my favorite. My favorite is Rupert's Tales, who are just, I love Rupert. So I am going to just read our Rupert's Tales. Hello, hello. And hopefully I don't lose internet. So this is Rupert's Tales by Kira. Rupert's Longest Night. No problem, Hexen. You do what you have to do, sweetie. No problem. Rupert the rabbit raised a paw to stifle a great big yawn, knowing there were still hours and hours left until the dawn. It was hard to do this, staying awake all through the night, but he was determined to wait for the new day's first light. For hours and hours he had been hiding by a tree, watching and listening, being as quiet as he could be. He'd listened and learned that winter solstice, or Yule, was this Sabbath's name, and to celebrate the return of the light was why everyone came. He'd learned that true winter would begin the very next day, and for these people, tomorrow would be their New Year's Day. Rupert had visited these people many times over the past year, and he had come to understand that from them he had little to fear. Still, there were times when he wished he had the power of human speech, for no matter how much he learned, he knew that they had more that they could teach. When he'd made his way earlier to this special place in a thick grove of trees that was kind of a round space, he had looked for the young ones, all the girls and boys. It hadn't been hard to find them with all of their noise. The children had their own shelter, a strange thing they called a tent. Close enough to the grown-ups, they could see where their children went. For hours, the girls and boys had played and danced and raised their voices in song, but they were sitting quietly now in shadows that had grown dark and long. Around a small fire, they had been gathered all together, trying their best to keep warm in the cold, frosty weather. One boy said, "I wish we could make this fire really, really big." And another agreed, saying, "Hey, we could find some branches and twigs." "Oh no," said a girl who seemed quieter than all of the rest. "I'd like it too, but when it comes to fire, our parents know best." "But without a fire, how will the sun know to come back to us again?" "Tell me that," said the girl, all dressed in blue. "Will it come back at all? And when?" "Stacy, your mother's the high priestess," said Bob, a boy with a red hat. "Shouldn't you know about the seasons, the sun, the moon, and all of that?" Here we go again, thought Rupert, looking around and rolling his eyes. Next would come all of the questions about the whens, the whos, and the whys. "If you will all be quiet and listen to what I have to say, then I'll tell you all I know about this night and the coming day. But you must remember that, like you, I'm still just a kid and I don't know everything or what everybody did. Because I'm older than you doesn't mean I'm a crone and very wise. Sometimes you have to figure things out with your own heart and mind and eyes. In fact, some of you might be a little surprised to find out that it's true. Some say Samhain is both the end of the year and the beginning, too. But what about the sun coming back?" the boy with the red hat wanted to know. "And what about the winter and the light and can you tell us when it will snow?" Long ago, before we learned about planets, the sun, and the changing of the weather, on winter solstice, people would try to guide the sun by gathering all together. They would pile a lot of wood and light big fires to help make the sun strong. They would build their fires very hot and high, and they'd sing a lot of songs. That's why we have so many lights hung on our holiday trees today, as a reminder to the sun that we want him to come back our way. My dad says the starting tomorrow we'll have more hours of daylight. "But that's when winter starts," said the girl in blue, "so I'm not sure he's right." "Oh, he's right," said Stacy, "and I know that seems pretty strange, but that's exactly how the wheel of the year is arranged. Just when it seems the weather is getting awfully cold and that winter is just about to really take a hold, right then is when we always get a special reminder from above that God and Goddess fill our world with laughter, hope, and plenty of love." A boy with black gloves and confusion on his face raised his hand in the air. "Go ahead, Nicholas," Stacy said, nodding. "Ask your question if you dare." "So even though we have long, dark nights and cold, short days, solstice reminds us warmer weather is on the way?" "Yes," Stacy said with a smile on her face, "you have it exactly right. But we still have some celebrating to do on this, the year's longest night. I have already told you about the lights we hang on the tree. What other decorations do we use? Can anyone tell me?" Rupert smiled to himself, leaning closer and stretching out one long ear. He was eager to learn more about this Sabbath and the wheel of the year. "The bright star," one boy called out, "all the way at the very top of the tree." "Mistletoe," said Emily with a green scarf, "where my daddy kisses me." "The garland and Yule log, and remember the wreath too?" These were all things that to Rupert were quite strange and new. "We'll start with the star," said Stacy, "way at the top of the tree. Do any of you know what it is? Can anyone tell me?" Nicholas raised his hand. "Isn't it the pentacle, all shiny and bright?" Stacy nodded. "It's for the 4 elements, along with spirit. That's right." The green and red mistletoe that is used today to steal a Yuletide kiss is a sacred plant used to make a promise you don't want to go amiss. "And the garland," said the girl in blue, "we use to wrap around and around the tree. Besides being all pretty and sparkly, what does it mean for you and me?" That decoration is for the goddess and the cycle that never ends. From mother to wife to widow, she goes, and then back to mother again. Doesn't the Yule log come from the Druids and their worship of the trees? It's supposed to bring good luck, said Bob. That's what my grandmother told me. We have a piece of last year's Yule log in our own fire right here. My mother brought it to us to give us good luck in the coming year. And what about the pretty wreath that was on the altar earlier today? Can you tell me about that one too? Asked Nicholas. What do you have to say? The green branches in a circle come from the goddess, if I remember right, with the red berries, pine cones, and holly from the god on this longest night. We put them together to celebrate balance and bring us luck that's good. The new year should bring us all many blessings, said Stacy. Oh, yes, it should. There are other symbols we use to decorate and bring in the new year. Tinsel and icicles remind us of the spring rains that will soon be here. We use bright bells of gold or silver to clear and clean the air, to call friendly spirits if any are listening out there. Rupert was amazed to hear the children speak of all these wonderful things and delighted by the glitter reminding him of sparkly fairy wings. But one thing we must all remember, no matter what else we do, these decorations aren't really what should mean the most to you. We're all safe and warm tonight, together by our toasty fire here. Still, we need to remember that more than songs, symbols, and holiday cheer. The winter solstice is the longest night through the whole long year, reminding us that is the warmth of the sun we all hold dear. We stay awake all night, even though it's really hard to do, to thank the god and goddess and all they give to me and to you. But what if I can't stay awake? Asked the girl in blue. I really need to know. Yes, agreed Emily. Then the sun will stay away, and so will all the snow? Don't worry, said Stacy. I can tell you the wheel of the year will still turn. It really doesn't matter if the Yule log refuses to burn. To remember the Lord and Lady is the most important thing tonight, as we are gathered here and wait together for the new year's first touch of light. Rupert was happy to hear that falling asleep wasn't something to dread, because he'd already seen one of the children crawl off to his own bed. Perhaps we could sing a song to help us stay awake. By the time we're done, Stacy said, maybe dawn will break. And so the children did sing just a verse or two, not for very long, and when it was done, all but one had fallen asleep during the song. My mother said you might come, said Stacy, and that I should watch for you. Rupert was happy the girl had seen him and that she knew what to do. For even though the sun was finally coming back as well as longer days, his eyes were heavy, his head was nodding, and he was beginning to sway. The girl gathered him up in her arms and held him close to her, humming a quiet tune while running her fingers through his fur. As his eyes were closing, he remembered all he learned about the coming light and decided that winter solstice, or Yule, was a very magical night. Yes, the wheel of the year was turning, and a warmer sun was on his way. In the girl's arms, Rupert felt happy, and that's how he's going to stay. Yay! So I hope everyone has a wonderful Yule tonight, has a wonderful longest night, and join everyone who's coming on. Maddie's going to be on in about 4 minutes. And here again is his channel. I just love the Rupert stories. They're my favorite. So I always make sure I say them right before. So I'm glad you're all here. I think we should have a great Yulefest. Yay! And I thank everyone who stepped up today to help me out. I know everyone felt really bad for me, and I felt kind of bad for making everyone feel bad for me, but I appreciate all of you, and I need to learn for my part not to let it get to that point. That before it gets to the point, that point, I need to kind of step up and ask for help before that. But I appreciate all of you that stepped up and reached out to help me, and I can't tell you how much that meant to me, because it was really the thing that was able to save Yule for me, because I was a bit overwhelmed. If anybody has seen that, they certainly can tell that that's where I was. But all right, guys, I love you guys. In another probably 2 minutes or so, Maddie will be on, and I know he will do wonderful. Try not to worry about it too much. Yule is going to be much more informal than the formal ritual kind of thing we did for Samhain. So know that it's okay. We'll get through it all together. I love you guys, and I'll see you at Maddie's channel.